Hi guys, my name is Adeja Adebowale and it's the best sporting show in the whole of the universe. It's New Systems to Sports. As you all know, we'll be talking about all things sports. Our boxing expert is back here. I'm so glad that he's here. As a matter of fact, um, Daniel Dubois doing a wonderful and terrific job last night. Same with Joseph Parker, and of course AJ looks a little bit more AJ. The UEFA Champions League is the grouping. I said the seeding for the next round of 16 has been concluded in the Champions League. We will be touching that amongst other things while we jump back to Go Super League. The Super League is almost back with us, and of course, Olale is Vermeer's antagonist of the Super League. I am a protagonist of the Super League. I will be dissecting that and more as we join into the world of sports today. But I'll start with Shay to introduce himself. I'm pretty sure people don't even recognize Shay again, but he has not been on this show for like 1 month or 10 years now. So he should go first. Olale, they see you every week. People are bored of seeing you on this.
Hello, everyone. Good to be back from a long sabbatical leave, and can assure you it's actually all too good. And welcome everyone once again. Good to be back to talk sports with the fantastic team over here, Olawale, Debo, and I'm very sure Kachi should be joining very soon. Good to be back on the show, and I'm just also going to be like a spectator here. I'll chip in once in a while. Just relax and enjoy the show today.
All right, Olale, go ahead and introduce yourself.
So, compliment of the season to the sporting fans around the world. It's Christmas time. So our Christian brothers celebrating anywhere you are. Yeah, many things to discuss. The United takeover, 25% takeover by Jim Ratcliffe. The what they call the ESL, the Europa Super League controversy is there. The NBA All-Star voting is open for what do you call it? Interested fans. And we also touch that me and Debo, we have a very contentious debate about who do you select between Luka Doncic or Anthony Edwards. I'm going for Anthony Edwards, probably from the statistical point of view. Debo has a point, but I have a point too, because Timberwolves are the best team in the league, and Anthony Edwards is their best team.
All right,
we'll get into that and discuss in full. Welcome to the show once again.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Malali, for that. And straight off, we'll be jumping to the round of 16 of the UEFA Champions League. Some clubs have not seen the round of 16 for, say, 10 years, maybe 7, maybe 8 years. I'm pretty sure Arsenal have not been in the round of 16. They've not even been in the Champions League for 7 or 8 years, as a matter of fact. Porto, perennial guys there. Napoli, the champions of Italy, are back there as well. So we'll just start off with the round of 16, and as it looks, Porto versus Arsenal. This thing is going to happen in February, but of course, it's the onus is on us to dissect it as sees today. Arsenal have always had the upper hand over Porto, but we know Porto on their day as well could be a tough nut to crack, especially in Portugal. Arsenal traveling first to Porto before Porto comes back to the Emirates. How do you see this one going? My own belief is that if Arsenal cannot exactly defeat Porto, they are not meant to be in this competition. And that's my own opinion.
looking at it on paper, you just think this should be an easy ride for Arsenal. But again, you could recall last season in the Europa League, Arsenal lost to, what do you call it? Was it Sporting Lisbon, or I think Sporting Lisbon? Yes, surprisingly, after I think they got a 1-1 draw away from home and they couldn't defeat them at the Emirates, and the game went into shootout where Arsenal eventually lost. Porto is in the Champions League this season. They won 4 games and they lost 2. And they finished almost on the same point with Barcelona, but I think Barcelona edges on an head-to-head. It's not a bad. I think everything that happens in this time will depend on whatever Arsenal, the kind of result Arsenal are able to get. What do you call it in Portugal? Because again, you have to consider the psychological part of the game. I don't think Arsenal will do themselves any favor coming back from Portugal with anything less than a draw. Even now, there's little valuable in a draw. There's little value in getting away draw in the UEFA Champions League now because of the cancellation of the away goals rule. You know, like before, if you get a 1-1 draw, you know that it's on your opponent to come to your home to come and attack you, because with 0-0 you qualify. But now, either you play 3-3 away from home, it's still all the same. At 0-0, you guys are going to penalty. So I think that has changed the dynamics of the knockout competition as it is now. So I think for me, I still think Arsenal are the favorite. But is it an overwhelming favorite? No, because I have to see how they react to the knockout competition, the knockout stage, the psychological part of it. I think for me, it's slightly 55% to Arsenal, 45% to Porto. And I think the most important part of the game is going to be what Arsenal are able to do in Portugal.
All right, perfect. Shay, what about you? What do you think about this one? Do you think it's going to be an easy ride for Arsenal, or it's going to be nothing is going to happen for Arsenal in this one, unless they can do right by themselves, especially in Portugal?
Yeah, my point is similar to Olawale, but I think it's going to be a convincing outcome for us. From my point of view, I don't see Porto being that much of an issue for Arsenal, for the Arsenal team. I think the Gunners have shown that they can actually also play as much as good away as much as they can play at home. And I really don't think the Porto team should give them so much issues on the night. For me, it's going to be a 60-40 to Arsenal.
All right, perfect. And of course, it's going to be Napoli versus Barcelona. Barcelona have their own issues as it stands right now. Last week on this show, we're discussing what should happen to Xavi, and where most Barcelona fans are forgetting where they are coming from and how broke their club is, and trying to get Xavi out of the door. Napoli, new change of coach. Mazzari is with Napoli right now. They are not looking so sharp. They lost over the weekend again against Roma. But February is a very long time, and we know what Mazzari is made of. Mazzari is a good coach that can actually indoctrinate his thinking and his ideology on the guys within 2 months, and they will look sharp as ever for that one. Barcelona, I don't trust them. Depends on what kind of Barcelona we're seeing on the day. So I'll say Barcelona winning is not the biggest. I'll place it on I'll say 51% chance. 51% for Barcelona, 49% for 51% for Barcelona, and 49% for Napoli. Olawale, what do you think about this one, at least as we see today?
I quite agree with you that it's going to be 51% for Barcelona. I will probably do 50-50 on my own part. I think there are too many uncertainty about this tie. As it stands now, both teams are not in a convincing form at all. Barcelona, I don't think they probably know their best 11 or their approach to the game as it is now. On a very good day, every decent team will fancy their chance against Barcelona as it is. But Napoli too doesn't really, they are not a team that probably commands such confidence as it stands now. Like you just rightly said, they just had a change of coach now. Well, if you could recall, Walter Mazzarri was the one that led, I think, when we started noticing what you call it, Napoli in Europe. That was, I think, around 2004, 2005. Sorry, around the late around 2010, 11, during the Ezekiel Labesi, Edison Cavani era. I think Walter Mazzarri was the man that led that revolution. So I think it was one that started the Napoli revolution in recent times that accumulated to probably what led to their league title last year. It started that revolution. You remember that season that they played Chelsea in the Champions League.
Chelsea in the Champions League,
away from home. They won 3-1 at home before they lost. Was it 4-1 at Stamford Bridge? So I think that was the point when, recent times, we started noticing Napoli in Europe, and Walter Mazzarri was the manager. Can he do that again? It's a different time entirely. It's like 10 years difference, and it's the different kind of. I think probably they just think that change of coach. You always know that Rudy Garcia's era was bound to fail. It's difficult for you to take over to replace a coach that just won the league. You know, it's a very, very difficult task to do. So he has his, but again, a change of coach does a lot of things, at least in the short term, for teams. Players want to prove themselves. Some players who have been probably sidelined for a while, having chance to.
They might.
I think there are a lot of things you don't know about these fixtures that makes it look dicey to call for either of the team, and that's why I think your 50-50 is on point on this.
All right, Sheyi, what about you? What are you thinking? What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think this season has shown us that Javi's team is still a work in progress. That last season happened to be, don't let us call it a fluke, but I think it's just better to say that it's still a work in progress, the team. We've also seen that Napoli has faltered also, being the reigning champion in Italy. They actually faltered all through the season. But you can still see that a little bit of spark, what they actually showed last season in that particular team. So the inconsistencies that is kind of common within these two teams makes it looks like a little bit of a balanced team. But I think Barcelona playing the second leg at Nou Camp will probably just be the decider. So me, I think Barcelona will just edge this over Napoli.
Okay. And from one inconsistent team to another inconsistent team, and we're talking about no other club than PSG. Lucky to have qualified from their so-called good pop bet, but I start to be corrected when you have Kylian Mbappe in your team. You have Kane, and you have Sekrina, the former Inter Milan defender, as your, and Donnarumma as your goalkeeper, Achraf Hakimi as your right back. He's probably the best right back in the whole world, as a matter of fact. And some other juggernauts in your team. There are better expectations to be placed on you than coming, than being walloped 4-1 by Newcastle and whatnot. And they are playing against a very youthful, solid, and tactical team in Real Sociedad. Most people might not pay attention to Sociedad, but the way Sociedad is playing, they play with so much discipline. They are very hard to break down. They are crop of young, energetic guys, and they are tactically and technically gifted as well. I see, personally, I don't see PSG qualifying for this one. The only reason why I have my doubts that PSG probably would qualify is because of Kylian Mbappe, who happens to be the best forward in the world. But something just tells me that Real Sociedad would edge this one. Personally, for me, Sheyi, I'm going to go first with you on this one.
Um, yes, I think from PSG point of view, they've been really, really disappointing this season. The Champions League was there for them to take at least the group, but it actually shows us a lot of flaws in that team. Their new look attack, I don't want to say that's their problem, but really, I think the midfield also they're still struggling to get the perfect three to support those attacking three forward. So a lot of inconsistencies, just like you mentioned with that team. Mbappe seemed not to have that much muscle to carry the team all the time. I don't want to say because they played in the group of death, but right now, I think this is the moment of truth for PSG to be sincere. They are facing quite a resolute team. If you look at the stats for Real Sociedad this season, they've had quite a lot of clean sheets, and there are games that on a good day they're supposed to probably draw, and they're able to pick 3 points by just scoring one goal, the hot goal, and just edge it. So that's a bad news for PSG, if you ask me. I won't be betting my money on PSG on this particular tie, to be sincere. So I'm just going to say it's going to go down to the last kick of the game, but I sense an upset actually in this particular tie.
All right. Okay. Well, Ali, what about you? What do you think? Do you think there's going to be an upset? It's going to be PSG business as usual, better than them?
Well, I think if there is one team, if there's a dark horse to the UEFA, as in for the UEFA Champions League title this year, from what we have seen in the group stage, it has to be Real Sociedad. They were in the same group with Inter Milan, and I think they came out without losing a single game. Home and away against the Italian side, were able to secure draw in both games, and most importantly, the last game, which Inter Milan probably needed to ensure that they top the group, they were able to to survive with a 0-0 draw. For PSG, it's going to be a very difficult. I think the little bit of the fear factor they had in them in Europe, I think as disappeared now. I don't think any team probably is going to fear them unlike before. The only reason why you have to give them a chance in this tie now is Kylian Mbappe, but can he single-handedly carry this team? I still think they are having difficulty in trying to, like Sheila rightly said, know what's their best 11, right? Like especially in the midfield, even in the attacking combination. Is it Kolomwani? Is it Goncalo Ramos? Or even Ousmane Dembele? I think it was a bit of a mistake in them going for Goncalo Ramos and Kolomwani about the same time, because you just see a lot of rotation going on there, as you don't outrightly want to play one of them. And for Real Sociedad, like I said, they are just like a typical Spanish side, very, very tidy in possession, and it looks very, very difficult to beat. Guys like Zubimendi, the Japanese guy Kubo, Bruno Mendes, and the Nigerian guys Sadiq Kumar. So I think they just have some kind of very dangerous players, which makes this pretty very close to, I would say, because I would just because of the pedigree of PSG, I won't just want to write them up completely, and because of the I think I will probably give the Spanish side a little edge here, like 55-45.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that one. Then when you see Diego Simeone going back home to Italy, by far, Inter Milan has been one of the best teams in Europe. We need to put it out there. Inzaghi has done a wonderful job, wonderful job. Where he took them from, like Olale said before, when you take over a winning team, it gets difficult sometimes. But this man transitioned the team from winners and the G3 moment that they had. And don't forget it came from last year as well. The G3 moment that they had and turned it and spun it and turned it into something huge. First, they won the Coppa Italia and they got to the final of the Champions League. And this was a team that, after 10 games of Serie A, they were requesting or they were clamors for him to be sacked, and he has turned that around. They've been wonderful. Out of the last 15 games, they've been able to keep a whooping 12 clean sheets. And don't forget, the best goalkeeper in the whole of Europe last season, Andre Onana, was sold from this thing. And they had to buy a Sommer. Sommer is an older guy, older G, where you feel, okay, probably he's going to be there for 1 or 2 years. But it looks like a pretty good and solid replacement. Sommer was just a stopgap because Mananoya was injured. As a matter of fact, so it was just a stopgap, and we thought it was going to be a stopgap again at Inter Milan. The way the overall play from the wing backs, and I'm talking about Dolphins and Marco. I've forgotten his last name right now. It's been solid. Manatovic came back this weekend to assist Barella in their 2-0 victory against. They lost against Bologna. I've forgotten who they played against this weekend, but he did a wonderful job. You see the fluidity. You see Lautaro Martinez that lost confidence at the World Cup, getting back to his groove, and they are welcoming back no other person but Diego Simeone back to San Siro. I think Inter Milan plays a better brand of football. I'm not a fan of Diego Simeone, but I know he's tactically disciplined and it can make your life difficult for all you know. And this is just a two game tie. Anything can happen. Inter Milan looks like they have the upper hand, at least as of today. But Atletico Madrid cannot do it enough as well. They're on the horizon, gradually coming up. Alvaro Morata scoring goals. Antoine Griezmann is about to become the highest goal scorer in the history of Atletico Madrid, and it's looking like a juicy style, if you ask me. I know there's going to be a lot of defensive sharpness or whatnot, but I feel Inter Milan should not go into this one feeling confident at all. If I'm Inter, I will not feel confident going into this one. But Ali, let me start with you on this one.
I will probably just have to warn our listener or viewers, wherever you are, that this tie is going to be probably the most boring tie of the second round, because I think style for style, both teams they match up perfectly and equally. Like there's probably nothing between them.
Yeah.
Whatever Simeone adds to Diego Simeone is going to present, expecting Inter Milan to match it. Both of them play a similar style of 3-5-2 in terms of probably the approach their own 3-5. In terms of shape, they have similar shape to 3-5-2. Probably the approach is a bit more different, but again, they both have two men in attack, 5 in midfield, and 3 at the back. Like you said, Inter probably a little bit more fluid than them, but again, we've seen Atletico Madrid scoring those goals when they needed it this season. I just think this tie is going to be decided by the moment, and the team that probably made that minimized its own mistakes. I think that's what it's going to be. I think there won't be anything between them. I think the tie will be very, very tactical, boring, and decided by probably 1 or 2 moments over 2 legs. This one, I can't stick my neck out for any of the team.
For any of the 2 teams. Sheyi, what about you? Do you think it's going to be a moment of truth for Inter Milan, and Inter probably will have to do something marvelous in this one? Or you think it's going to be a boring tie like Alani said?
Anyway, I think they really match each other, tactic for tactic, man for man. Also, if you look at the quality of the players. But the only objection that I have is I don't think it's going to be a boring game. I think it's actually going to be quite energetic and competitive. I'll put it that way. But I'm 100% quite with Olawale on this. You can hardly, separate these two. They play the same way. They have similar players. They want to do things the same way. So for me, I think whoever make good use of their
moment.
Yes, of their moment and their positive flow. I know Inter like to play with those wing backs, Humphreys and DiMarco. If they come to the party over the two legs, I don't think Atletico can survive the fluidity of Inter. And that might just be what will help Inter to win this time. So for me, I'll go with Inter.
Okay, we'll go with Inter as well. Okay, so that makes two of us, or three of us, as a matter of fact. Welcome, Oracle Kachi. Don't follow Oracle Kachi. Don't follow him. If he gives you sure words, don't follow him. Kachi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm good to see you once again. It's been a long few minutes since we last saw him. And him returning on the back of the day of reckoning is very ominous. I'm really interested to hear what Sheyi has to say regarding the fight we saw over the weekend. Good to be here once again.
All right, perfect. And of course, just before you came in, Kachi, we were talking about the UEFA Champions League and what's not. So I'm going to come straight to you. This is a team that came out of the group. As a matter of fact, came tops of the group. I'm talking about Northern Person and Borussia Dortmund against PSG. PSV so far have not lost any match except the 4-0 bashing they got in the hands of Arsenal, which I think was more down to tactical deficiency rather than the ability of the players, right? On this particular day. I know Dortmund are the Arsenal of Germany. You can't rely on them. It's pretty an unreliable team, as a matter of fact. I would give PSV a chance here, an outside chance to qualify against Borussia Dortmund. I know it's a big ask and a big club, but for what we have as of today, I'll definitely put PSG ahead of Dortmund. I don't know if you share that sentiment.
No, I don't. This is what I would say. Like you said, PSV probably came out of a group we didn't expect them to, because we thought we were going to see a much more compact and formidable Sevilla than we ultimately did. Sevilla's case, I'm not sure which is worse between AC Milan, expected to come out of that group, or Sevilla also on paper expected to come out of that group. However, that being said, PSV couldn't have asked for a better table-topping team. If they asked PSG to choose who they would rather face in the round of 16 out of all the teams that top their group, I'm pretty sure Dortmund would have been the only choice. So based on that, yes, they definitely stand a chance. However, I think for me the contrast is the quality of opponents that Dortmund has had to face to get to where they are now. Probably puts them better battle tested than what PSG would say they have in their experience so far this season. I'm not saying collectively. They're both past winners of the tournament, so that's not what I'm saying. Dortmund had to navigate a very hostile San Siro and came out with a 3-1 win. They navigated a vibrant Newcastle and won over 2 legs. Yes, they might have lost at the Parc des Princes, but it really wasn't as if PSG bossed them around.
No, it's not PSG, PSV.
No. I'm saying for Dortmund now.
Dortmund, from Dortmund
in Paris was not because PSG bossed them around.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm saying they are battle tested, especially this season, such that if there's anyone that, because apart from Sevilla, I don't think PSV won away from home. Dortmund was able to do it in a raucous St. James Park, in a raucous theater of football in Milan. So based on that, I definitely tilt more towards Dortmund than I would PSV. However, PSV obviously will fancy their chances because it is not Manchester City or even Real Madrid.
All right, perfect. Thank you for that. Kachi is tilting more towards Dortmund, and I share his sentiments. These are the guys that stop his team from qualifying. I'm denying your team, as a matter of fact.
I always knew you were a fair weather fan.
When we start climbing back, when we start climbing back and Madrid start begging me again, maybe I'll reconsider. But for now, I'm not a Milanese right now. Olade, I'm going to come to you. It's going to be Lazio versus Bayern Munich. Lazio, I don't know. I really don't know, as a matter of fact, and that's my honest opinion about Lazio against Bayern Munich. Bayern does not ooze confidence as well. If you look at their games, sometimes they're more like a weather team right now. Sometimes they look like, oh, this is a team that can kill you, and sometimes you're like, what is wrong with these people? Like their 5-0 whitewash, I think 2 weeks ago. Against I've forgotten the name of the team they played against. We were whitewash 5-0, 5-1. I'm like, what is wrong with Bayern Munich? And sometimes they play crazy football. I'm like, oh, this is probably one of the best playing teams in the whole of Europe. What do you think about this game itself, Bayern versus Lazio? First game is definitely going to be at Lazio, and the return at Munich.
Yeah, I think Lazio is going to make it an interesting tie, but I don't see. I think Bayern will just have too much for them. It's just, I think it's one of those ties that you can probably easily call 60-40. I still think Bayern, for whatever they've done so far this season, I still think they've not really reached their potential. I've watched some couple of their games. I still think there is 1 or 2 levels for them to get to. I still don't think we've seen their best. So Lazio, yes, a very, very decent Italian side. They did very well for themselves in the group stage. Were able to qualify, what do you call it, from a group with I think they play with Atletico Madrid. Yeah, Atletico Madrid, Celtics, and I think is it PSV Eindhoven? And Feyenoord, which was a decent group, and they were able to win 3 games. Beyond that, I just think the firepower of Bayern Munich will just be too much for them to stand. I think this is going to be an easy victory for Bayern.
An easy call. Okay. All right. Perfect. Shreya, I'm going to come. I'm not supposed to ask you for these last 2, honestly. City versus Copenhagen. Copenhagen only here because of Manchester United, right? They don't have any business being here. Honestly, they are just here because of the woefulness of Manchester United and Galatasaray. So I'm not going to call that, right? Do you agree with me? I was supposed to call that. City should definitely be there, unless something happens.
Obvious.
Real Madrid versus RB Leipzig as well. Unless something drastic happen, I don't see RB Leipzig doing it across 2 legs over Real Madrid, and that would be for the preview of the Champions League. As of today, we definitely will come back in February and tell you more, because definitely some people will be injured before then, and the dynamics of all these matchups could definitely change before the middle of January. As a matter of fact, before next year, the dynamics might change tremendously. As a matter of fact, and
2 more people in Real Madrid might tear their ACL before February.
Exactly, which is a terrible one at Real Madrid, as a matter of fact. And Kachi, since you said that, and I'm looking at it like, what exactly is happening at Real Madrid? 3 ACLs in the season looks abnormal to me. As a matter of fact, it does not look. It looks like either they are passing too much, the medical guys are not doing their job, or I don't know. It's just strange.
It is strange indeed, and of course, the one common denominator there is the club. But let's not forget that Kamavinga didn't tear his with the club. I think he tore his with the French national team, I believe.
Yeah, but it's because of what was happening at the club, and I took it.
Yeah, but on the more serious
was
note,
not even playing the match. It was a training.
It's definitely a cause for concern. For Kamavinga, we knew. I'm not sure if it was Kamavinga or Chouameni. I don't know. Somebody got hurt just before the World Cup last year. But with the French national team, I can't remember. I think it was Chouameni, but I can't remember who it was.
It can't be Chouameni. It can't be Kamavinga.
I can't remember. I'm so sorry. But coming back to your comment, the single denominator there is the club. But we also have to give them the benefit of the doubt because this is the first time it is happening. And for Madrid, I think they haven't changed their back end staff. So nothing came out in the news that made us, to make us say, oh, they changed personnel with the coaching or the physiotherapy staff. So it might be new technology they've introduced, new diets that is affecting these players. It's really sad because it's happening to some of the more consistent people. David Alaba never had an ACL injury before now in his career. So ultimately, it has to make Madrid go back and see what they changed between last year and this year and probably be able to identify if that is a single factor there. I'm not sure if they've also done anything to their turf. Let's not forget the Bernabeu was relayed with the way the retractable grass, retractable whatever. I'm not sure if it is natural grass now, if it is turf they are playing on. So there's so many things we don't have details of, but definitely they have to look at what has changed between last year and this year and isolate it. I really do.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you very much for that, Okukachi. And of course, before we go into anything back into football, I want us to go straight into the world of boxing and talk about these things. Sheyi, I'm very stubborn, but when I have to admit and apologize, I do. I'm not like Olawale. Olawale is the only person that is very, very stubborn, never agrees with anything. It is what, as long as he's convinced. But I'm not as stubborn as Olawale. Actually, Joshua, I had to give it to him last night. He came with a tactic. He came to fight like a boxer, like a proper heavyweight boxer. I don't know, maybe because of the opponent, but it looks like he actually adapt his fight towards whatever it is that the opponent was bringing up. And he did that with a TKO after the 5th round. The guy never came back out. Otto Whelan did not come back out. And Joshua is back again. Looks like he's back again. And I saw what the NSN said. If this is the Joshua, then Joshua is back. Is it just a one-off, or do you think Joshua is a little bit more serious? I like the way he was throwing his punches. He was not fighting like he's on the edge or he was scared, Shay.
Yeah, for Anthony Joshua on the night, it was a fantastic night for him. But we have to also take a look back at the year 2023 for AJ. Basically, you can see the progression. You can see the difference in the way he took those fights. The last 3 fights, you can actually see that he got better from the first one to the next one. Then us seeing what we saw, last night. To be sincere, we have to give kudos to the coaches and also to himself for him to come back to believe in himself. We have to really give kudos to him.
He's been a nice guy.
He was, yeah, wasn't a nice guy. A nice guy on this particular night. But the point is, you can see the difference in Anthony Joshua's fight. Basically, the tactics, the way he started, very, very aggressive. He made sure he owned the middle of the ring, and that shows, that's the first thing you see when you see a dominant fighter. They will always be in the center of the ring, not the backs to the ropes. He did that all night, chased Otto Walling all night. And for don't let us also forget that Otto Walling is actually uh, 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 um, the stance of Otto Walling is not orthodox, is southpaw, and Joshua has always had issues with southpaw boxers, but to be sincere, he was able to chase away the ghost that has haunted him for years on this particular night. So, for me as a boxing fan, as a follower of the game, I think I think that was a fantastic performance. Not only the win, but I think the confidence is actually coming. And guess what? He won after one of his nemesis, or so-called nemesis, Wilder, because we know that he ran away from Wilder for a long time. Lost, and Wilder really had a terrible night. So that brings back, that swings that confidence back to AJ's camp. Right now, it's definitely going to be higher than Wilder at the moment. And what else do you want for a two-time champion? He might be getting a chance to become a top world champion. Fantastic one for him.
All right, thank you very much, Kachi. One that's okay. So I'm gonna come out clean. I really don't know Jerry Miller that much, but when I saw the bout, I'm like, one, this guy is too big. That was the first thing I saw. It's too big, and it does not look energetic. It looks like someone that will tire out after 2 or 3 rounds. And to my kudos, my brain, my brain is very sharp, Kachi. It's not my fault. It's God that gave it to me. After 5 rounds, Miller was definitely tired. Definitely. Oh, he said his name is Big Baby. Okay, makes sense now. And Daniel Dubois bossed him around basically. And by the 10th round, it was like, come hit me. And that one knocked him out. Nearly killed him. Except for the referee. For some foolish referees or some useless referees, they would have allowed Daniel Dubois to keep punching him. But it was saved. It was saved as a matter of fact. Daniel Dubois, I looked at him, I'm like, this is a boxer. Jerry Miller, not so much. And like I said, I don't know Jerry Miller very well. Am I wrong, or you could just point me towards the right direction?
I don't think you're wrong. I mean, that's why he fought on an undercard, obviously. The fact that he's not one of the major contenders. But let's not take away anybody that can still move. You call it slow because you saw him with his contemporary. But trust me, if he stands and moves with you or me, you will know that he is not slow. No, I'm just letting you know that it is all it's contextual. On this night, he came against a Dubois who was faster, trimmer, better reach, and could move around the pitch, around the ring rather. I think this was probably Dubois' most impressive win, in my own opinion. Even though they call it a TKO, because it was literally 13 or 14 seconds to the end of the fight. When the referee stopped it. But you only beat the person put in front of you. Like a lot of people might come out to say, oh, Otto Walling, do you understand? Okay, should Anthony Joshua be raising his hand because he had a stoppage? But you beat the person put in front of you. And that is really what Dubois has done. I think right now, I'm not sure, but I think Dubois is well placed to get into the ring. Probably, and Shay, please correct me here, they are going to vacate the IBF because neither Usyk nor Fury are going to fight the mandatory fighter. And I'm not sure if Dubois is the mandatory fighter. If Dubois is not, chances are that either AJ will get a shot at another belt like Shay alluded to, or it might be a Dubois winning another fight and becoming a contender. So really impressive. Big Baby held his own for 10 rounds.
He did not hold his own for 10 rounds. It was just 2 rounds, 5 and 6.
Trust me, when you look at the amount of punches he took, and he lasted till the 10th round before he got knocked out. I believe that is holding your own. I mean, he died on his shield rather than if it's up to me, I'll tell you, I'll just be like, ref, there are just 25 or 26 seconds to the end of this fight. Let this thing go to the judges. If he does not fall, I would have given him that honor because he took a barrage of shots all through those 10 rounds. He did not collapse. He waited until the referee stopped it. I think that in itself it's credit. However, Big Baby should be looking to fight Ajagba. Their pace is the same. Ajagba is not as fast as Dubois is in terms of leg movement. That is probably the level. Be an undercard. Get your 500 or 800K every 3 months.
Not so much on his power. I don't understand. Not so much on his power. You are big. Once you throw the ball,
it's not fluid. The fluidity there is lacking.
That's zero.
The fluidity. You're just a bad mouth guy, people. You need to give credit to someone who stood there for almost 30 minutes, not being able to counteract or counterattack. All he did throughout that fight was take punishment upon punishment upon punishment. I think it's a testament to his resilience. There are probably a few things he might add, but I don't see him ever. Even Andy Ruiz would make light work of him because he's not fast with his feet. Once he sets, it's difficult for him to quickly adjust.
Exactly. That's the right
what the opponent is doing. And that is his problem because he's so big, he has to set. He's not that fluid, and that fluidity has been the bane of his career.
All right, perfect. Like you said,
if you are wicked to mention Big Baby, I just have to let you know that you're very wicked.
if he's looking for someone to send you condolences, maybe you should try sumo wrestling. Sheyi and Kachi, I'll tell you the question that you guys both. Joseph Parker, he did a solid one. That was a whole lot of bashing. I don't understand what happened to Wilder yesterday. I don't know. Because the Wilder that I know, that was terrible. It was terrible. All true. As a matter of fact, I did not see the match live. I watched the highlights because I could not wait. But that was terrible. Wilder was terrible. That's just what I could say. It was terrible.
Yeah. Let me break it down on a personal note. And what I noticed, what I saw on the night, and what I think what happened. I think coming into this bout, Wilder had a tactic into this game and decided to go by it. I believe that it was the wrong one. I think Wilder is a knockout artist and should decide whatever he wants to do in the first 5 rounds. I believe he came into this particular game to relax, to conserve his energy in the very first to 3 or 4 rounds. But guess what? He lost all the first 6 rounds, which already put him in a kind of desperate mode. So afterwards, he was only trying to look for the knockout, for the right hand, jab with the left, and try to get the right punch. But Parker came with a fantastic game plan also that worked 100% for him. And I don't want to say he was lucky not to get caught by the right hand of the Wilder. I don't want to say that because I believe these are professionals and they've trained for this particular bout. They've watched Wilder over the years. And what I saw on the night, Debo, was a typical Wilder. I saw Wilder against Luis Ortiz 1 and 2. I saw Wilder against Tyson Fury. The first one, Tyson Fury 1. 2 was a little bit different because Wilder came out to fight and knock Tyson out between the first 6 rounds and got tired. The same thing happened. Wilder Fury 3. He wanted to leave everything on the in the ring at that night, but Fury was just too skillful and too smart for Wilder. I expected to see the same explosive Wilder I saw against Elenius, against Parker, but that was not it. It was different on the night. He wanted to start slowly to probably pace himself so that he doesn't get tired or what. But guess what? Parker came with the same a strategy that the likes of Luis Ortiz did over the years. Batter Wilder as much as possible and try to avoid the right time. He did it throughout all night and he won fair. So I guess that is what happened on the night as far as I'm concerned. But guess what also? One thing we need to also know is that Deontay Wilder is 38 years. He's on a decline.
He's 38 years old.
38 years, yes.
Oh, wow.
Wilder has gone past his peak. By his peak, is in a decline. So right now, I think, like he said after the bout, he's a blessed man. He has made a name for himself. He has won the world champion, the belt. He held it for quite a while, number of years. He has a fantastic family. He needs to just start looking at, pulling that curtain gradually. That's what I believe for Wilder. If he goes into a bout with the top three right now, talking about Fury, Usyk, and probably AJ, I don't think he can beat anyone of them. That's my opinion. And
okay. Kachi, any discussion opinion to that?
None at all. I just would like to add that Wilder was also coming in rusty. I believe his last fight was in October 2022. And the way boxing is almost like technology nowadays. Taking a year or so off leaves you more rusty than rested. And that's why we could see AJ show remarkable improvement. This was AJ's third fight in 2023 alone. So every 4 months, AJ has been in the ring. And you compare that to Wilder's absence. So that's another factor. Another thing we should not be afraid to say is that Parker was a better boxer. Better boxer. He combined his jabs well. Very fleet-footed. It was just too glaring. So, and the commentators kept saying there's one problem with people who fight the way Wilder fights, and that issue, or the way he fights, is he is always looking for a knockout. Instead of fighting to get a knockout, he is sitting there waiting for you to come into his right hand. And everybody knows that now, such that if you are mobile, fleet-footed, and you can work with your jab, you can stay away from that his right hand. And he is almost like a dinosaur in the sense that he does not know how to change. Like Sheyi alluded to it, that he came in with a tactic, but I also noticed that even after he lost the first 6 rounds, he could not adjust his tactic. You came in looking for a knockdown. After 6 rounds, you had no option but to get a knockdown to win the fight. So it limited his approach, it limited his adjustment, his age. For our non-Nigerian listeners, I want to apologize for this. But for those of us that are on this show, you probably will remember when President Obasanjo said anybody trying to change the late, I believe it's Adedibu, I can't remember, of blessed memory. You cannot straighten a bent smoked fish. I think that was the idiomatic expression he used then. At 38 years old, it will be difficult for him to learn to fight in another way. Parker took advantage of that, but I believe on the night, even though he was a lesser known commodity, Parker was the better fighter.
Of course, 100%. 100%. That was 100%. Go Super League. Olali, I'm going to come to you now. Super League is back, whether you like it or not. As a matter of fact, they've gotten their judgment that they wanted, and the court of arbitration, although it has not been formally um, pronounced, but at least it's out there that the clubs have the rights to make their own, make up their own competition. You made so much valid points, some of which I agree with. But the problem is we have the two biggest brands in football, Barcelona and Real Madrid, championing this. The English teams or the English league is will have been the missing piece. But unfortunately, it looks like the UK has clamped down on the clubs right now, and it might not happen. Do you still see a future for this Super League? And what should UEFA do? As a matter of fact, in terms of revenue sharing, nobody realistically just give me, if you are showing me £1 billion on an annual basis, I'll go with Super League for real. And you as UEFA and FIFA, you just want us to play more games, you want us to do more things, but you still want to tell us that you're helping Africa when and we know how this thing goes. The former French guy, I forgot his name, Michel Platini, said Blatter. We know how the corruption goes on in the UEFA and FIFA. But realistically, what should they do? Or do you see a future for the Super League?
Well, I think there are a lot to unpack from the judgment. I think one part of it was that probably you have UEFA and FIFA probably acted wrongly. But again, I don't think I think there is still a lot of things in that judgment that did not necessarily approved of the Super League. The Super League still needs to go through some, even if it's going to come to light, still need to go through some processes, which I think will probably make it difficult. But again, just looking at it, on the in the bigger picture, what this has successfully done, in summary, is that UEFA or FIFA, or let me say UEFA in this does not have, because the jurisdiction we are looking at is Europe. UEFA probably does not have the sole right to organize football competition, which is which literally does this thing. Now, what is the implication? I think the good thing, I think the implication now is that I think for me the bigger picture is I think the clubs have a bit of leverage on their own parts now to make UEFA realize that for things to have gotten to this stage
level, yeah. I think we lost Alani there for a second. Alani, can you hear me? Can't you go ahead?
Okay. I really don't know what else we can say, but it's still very funny how things are playing out. Because UEFA definitely needs some of the clubs who have come out to go against this to buy into it for it to fully succeed. You definitely know your club. You know your club has not bought into it.
No. I think Arsenal denounced it as well. They did.
Yeah, they denounced it, right? That's what I'm saying. They've not bought into it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, of course, someone said something that I thought was very intriguing. That the introduction of the ESL really is an attempt to kill the English Premier League, because they are the only league that on their own are probably capable of making the amount of money that UEFA is proposing that they will make. And I think, and I read that and I was like, wow, this makes a lot of sense. Personally, I am not of that school that believes that Arsenal should play Real Madrid every week or every other week. The beauty of the UCL or European football has been the rarity of those type of games, the nostalgia, the build-up, the controversies before the games when we talk of history, and the discussions after these games, because we don't know when we will get them again. Let me put it in perspective for you. As crazy and as dominant as Barcelona and Real Madrid have been, we have not seen them play each other in the finals of the UEFA Champions League. So it's to let you know how rare it is, how difficult it is. So you look at stuff like that, and the ESL would ultimately kill that suspense and make that the type of games we see on the weekly, almost on every month we will watch Real Madrid play Barcelona, at least once a month. It's going to remove the mystery, the myth around games like that. Yes, they will make money. I know they've tried to say, oh, there will be some form of relegation, so to speak, similar to what they have in the Nations League. But for me, the mystery, the myth, the rarity of marquee games is what makes the current format better. And even though I'm not a key decision maker, I'm not even a minor decision maker in this, if you're going to ask me, I would say let's keep this format for it as long as we can. And now hear me clearly. The way the world will innovate. At some point in this lifetime, ESL will become what we ultimately now know as our normal. But let us enjoy this current format for as long as we can.
All right. Perfect. Olale, you're back, right?
Okay, yes. So can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the ESL, like I said, I think ultimately what the judgment I think the bottom line is that UEFA, because we are talking about what do you call it, Europe now, does not have the sole what do you call it right to organize football. But again, I think the good thing is I think UEFA probably through some lobbying of the, what do you call it, of some governments in Europe, I think they'll be able to secure
especially
what do you call it, assurance that I think most especially Germany and England, that their clubs are not going to be joining this. And for me, no matter how you look at it, I think just like Kachi said, I've always been of the school of thought that the reason why the reason behind what probably made the ESL a thing was because of Real Madrid and Barcelona knows at the back of their mind, with the current structure of football as it is, they cannot compete against the English because of the financial powers. It's so embarrassing that a team that finishes 10th, 11th, 12th in England financially is probably buoyant than it's almost as buoyant as in the top 3 teams in Italy. So I think that is where the whole conversation is coming from. They are looking for a way, and the truth is, the moment you have the ESL in place, the EPL will lose its relevancy. What do we play for? We don't play for the league title alone. We play for the top 4. We play for the Europa League spots. We play for the what do you call it? The what they call the Conference League. So all those intrigues are what made the what makes the league so interesting. The moment you lose that, as long as you can't win the league, and just look at the United as they are now, this season, practically they can't win the league. So what's the motivation in even taking the game serious if the only thing that is at stake is winning the league title? Nothing again. So you render as probably a 10-15 game weeks irrelevant for so many teams. So but again, I think UEFA and FIFA probably have to look at themselves, what do you call it, in the mirror, because they are not saints in all these things. In the era where we're complaining about too many games and this, UEFA came in with a nation, what do you call it, a Nations League. Again,
and the World Club that would have like
expand the World Club Cup. I just think the clubs on their own part will have, what do you call it, a more basis for them to negotiate more money from UEFA. I still trust this current pyramid. In as much as we think UEFA is corrupt, I think the top teams might not be making as much as they are, but there is a way this current structure
could actually make it better.
As for at some level that.
Yeah. I believe that definitely makes much sense. Alright, thank you for that. Dayo, welcome to the show. You can unmute yourself. Last time you were on the show, you lost the game that you played in. But because you're my Arsenal brother, I'm not going to knock you also so much about that. So I'm going to jump straight to you there on this one. Arsenal definitely needs a striker. The guys that you've used so far, imagine having a Hebe Jesus as your main striker.
Yeah.
I'm not a striker that will score goals. And the next guy, who happens to be the highest goal scorer of Arsenal so far this season, he said Nketiah. And then Nketiah should be playing for Leeds United
Or Fulham.
of Fulham. Yeah, and aside this for Arsenal is Victor Osimhen just been extended his contract over the course of the week with Napoli till 2026. But the good news on it is that he has a release clause of between 120 million euros to 130 million euros. Do you think this is the kind of guy that Arsenal needs and should be targeting for January if they are serious about winning the league or doing? Go ahead.
Okay, thank you guys. I know it's been a while I've been on this show. I miss you all. Kachi, my buddy. It's been a while. Wale, I don't know why you keep calling Wale prophet, because if he was the prophet that can see the future, he won't be supporting man in the first place. Anyway, so I just needed to put that in. Quick one before I jump onto the Arsenal matter. I would just like to touch on the ESL. My own is that what I just had on that one is that I don't understand this envy, because the whole reason all these back Real Madrid are, pushing for this agenda is obviously to compete with the Premier League. I'm not your conventional football analysts like them, Kachi and Wale, they are grounded or whatnot. My own is just that if you see what is the Premiership doing differently, why is it more well accepted, rounded, around the world? Why can't you just see how you can, improve on your own individual league as well? But anyway, I don't know. Maybe there's some things that is not known to common football fan like me. So back to Arsenal. Yeah, I agree with you that Nketiah is not. Forget it. We are just. We've been worse. We use Yaya no go. I hope you know. we have suffered. Remember Bentner that wanted to score against Liverpool that removed our goal himself. So again, I can go on and on and on. But again, Nketiah, he will not like the Yoruba will say cannot be Wadebe. Obviously, that one is not. You don't need an herbalist or prophet Wali to tell you that one. You understand? So, Osimhen, well, I don't know. To be honest, his style of play, he seems like a sleeky striker. But again, I don't think Arsenal will want to go for the likes of Osimhen. If you're talking about the likes of Ivan Toney now, they might need a kind of physical presence in that box, 6-yard box. That commanding, figure. So. But the likes of Nketiah, Gribi Jesus can play, 11, sometimes can, do 8, can play around. But again, I don't think.
So you rather Arsenal went for Ivan Toney than Victor Osimhen?
Exactly, because Ivan Toney is more tested in the Premier League yet, and then Osimhen is coming from Syria, where there are those defenders in Kenya. They will just give him one shiko for back. Now injury don't start. We're back to square one. So we need somebody that has understand how the Premiership works. Yeah, okay. That's all.
Okay. Which totally makes sense as well. And Shea, I'm going to come to you on this one. And this is just a news. City winning the World Cup Championship, defeating Flemings 4-0 in the final. Of course, we know Melo is a madman. He decides to still fight Walker at the end of the game. But I'm going to come to United 25% takeover by Sir Jim. It has been finalized right now. And it looks like he's saying it's going to take over the footballing structure of United. How good of a news is this for an average United fan? Shay?
As a Mario fan, to be sincere, I will still try to
Be skeptical.
look
Be
at
careful.
to look at what is going to happen, because not that I so much have confidence in the new management, really. I heard about a rumor of Sir Jimmy Ratcliffe already talking to Potter to
Yeah.
take over from
Yeah.
Ten Hag. And for me, I stand to be corrected anyway. I want to see the difference between Potter and Ten Hag. At least I've seen Ten Hag stamp his feet down and chase away probably two big players that a lot of coaches might not be able to do. So it's still there for us to see what they're coming to do. The positive part of it might be getting a proper sporting director this time around that will help to get things right in terms of making football decisions. The club, they've wasted quite a lot of money, not even talking about this season, over the years. If you want to point at what has happened this season alone, it's enough. It's enough said. Sancho's 86 million thereabout, or 83 million is now a total. Is now a liability. I think that's what Kachia and what call it.
This is they're going to terminate the contract.
Liability.
That's what wants to be like Arsenal now. Yeah.
Anthony, 86 million over the weekend. I learned that social scouting team were already talking about 25 million for the player during his time. And at a point, you said that they were not going to pay more than 60 million pounds. They ended up paying 86 million pounds. So we've seen all these over time. Oilon should not go for that kind of amount if you actually know what you are doing. We've seen quite a lot of that.
The best young striker in the whole of Europe.
All because people cannot make a proper sporting decision, a proper football decision. In that aspect, I think it might just be a good news to get a proper sporting director that will, handle footballing matters, make proper decisions, sensible decisions, and let's see how it goes. He's coming in with $300 million, dollars to invest in the club. I don't know how that is going to be, if it's for the stadium or for the team, basically. So those things are going to unravel gradually. And for now, don't let us say hooray. I think we should just sit down.
Be careful.
Be careful. Let's watch.
I really was not expecting us to say anything, man. You at least for the next 3 weeks. Let's give Olawale and Sheyi some time to on their own, based on what they are doing by themselves. They are polishing themselves. Let's not add insult to injury. Money is. We're not going to throw money at this problem and expect it to change. To Sheyi's point, even if you appoint Graham Potter's younger brother, Graham Potter's half sister, to manage different aspects, there is an inherent issue with Manchester United that Cristiano Ronaldo talked about, and we all asked for his head. But the same issue. Let me let you know how bad it is. Manchester United was just ranked the worst in terms of food hygiene. Premier League. Manchester United had a public event and served people raw chicken.
Oh, wow.
So you see that what we are saying, the culture of excellence has left the club, such that from physio to kitchen to dining,
Olawale is the gang leader of the anti-Ronaldo.
Kachi, I think Wait now. I think it should be hypocrisy at its best for anyone who understands football, who follows United, ever revealed during that interview was the first time he was hearing that. Or was you don't need Ronaldo. Those things, even signing Ronaldo back, like I said, was part of the bad footballing decision. Because for a team that was actually rebuilding them, the last thing you want to go for at that moment is for a Ronaldo who has an entire different kind of agenda as a player at that moment in time. For him, it's all about start padding at that moment in time. It's all about the record. For United, it's a different thing entirely. So whatever he said during that interview was not, nobody said any, as in those things were wrong. We all know those things. It was in the public knowledge for so long.
Olaripe, may I have a question for you? I can't hear you very well, but I have a question for you. And my question is for you and Sheyi. And you, if Naichi is here, that's my. I have a question for you guys. Kachi, the question is not for you, as a matter of fact.
Don't ask me. You will add fire to it. We add petrol.
That's why I'm adding Naichi to it. Gary Neville has officially has a better record while he was at Valencia. His record right now is better than what Ten Hag has at Manchester United so far this season. Ten Hag is on a -5 goal difference. How long are we going to stand on this? Should we just give the job to Guy Neville to the end of the season? At least it's not going to get any worse, right?
This is not a footballing question. Okay. This, you are just trolling at this moment in time because you are not actually asking a footballing question. So nobody will give you a response to that. Nobody will give you a response to that. So
it's a very good question. Should we give the job to Gary to the end of the season? See,
that's not the question.
He did a better job at Valencia.
You are just trolling, and nobody is going to give you. Not even sure will give you answer to that question. Go and look for the answer to that question wherever you want to look for it.
Oh God, Olale is taking it personal. Anyways, United. I really, like Kachi said, we should not really talk about United, but we just have to talk about it because of what Sajin did with the 25% takeover. We hope and we are hoping that this will be a good turnaround for the team itself.
I think the bigger question is this. Is this about the takeover.
We have to move on quickly for us to be able to touch NBA because we are fast.
Okay, let's do that.
So we will be able to go to NBA. Arsenal played a 1-1 draw against Liverpool. Some terrible calls. Liverpool being denied the penalty in the game. Arsenal have their own shot for the penalty as well. But we'll see how that goes. Arsenal on top of the league, 40 points. Liverpool, 39 points. Aston Villa, the surprise package so far, at 39 points as well. And of course, River Plate are negotiating with Barcelona for Echeverri, the new guy on the blog. I said it's the new Leo Messi. It never works out. Don't stop tagging people new Ronaldo and new Messi.
Don't call anybody new somebody. That's the end of that player.
You are just going to keep them out of their life. Anyways, Ja Morant is back to the NBA after his long extended leave. And I told someone, I said Ja is back until Ja is not back again. Ja is back. Can we confidently say he has learned from his mistakes? If I came out yesterday to say Ja still moves to the same guys that kept him, that caused him problem in the first instance, but they have better sense right now. Are we supposed to take that
the father is
as a confidence booster? Okay, maybe he has changed. We have changed him or whatever it is that he did for Ja.
Even before we heard what the dad said, I wasn't filled with confidence, especially after his first game when after he won with that buzzer beater, and he was running into the dressing room and he kept shouting, "I kept receipts. I keep receipts too." Like, who are you keeping receipts for? We did not send you out of the league. You sent yourself out of the game. We wait to see. It's really really difficult, and I think that has been the first issue because the father lost his ability to be a dad, like a father, not a dad, to be a father to him as soon as Jazz started making those crazy money. The father followed the money and lost and forgot his role as a father, and instead became a groupie to his own son. Now, it lets you know where the fault lies. If Ja is telling the league one thing and the father is coming out to say something else, alerting the league to the probability of this come out to say he's still keeping the same set of friends, he's still rolling in the same circles. We saw the text message he was exchanging with his mom before his first game back. Now, the mom is a cheerleader. I totally get it. She will say anything to psych up her son. But even the way they chat with each other shows me that they are not holding Ja accountable. Instead, they are fanning his ego, so to speak. I mean, he's not. It's so difficult, and I totally want this guy to succeed. In fact, as much as I want Zion to succeed, I probably want Ja to succeed more. But we saw how this transpired with Dennis Rodman. We have seen how the league allowed Draymond Green to become the monster he is now. We saw how Meta World Peace, Ron Artest, became who he became. Thankfully, he was able to recover himself. All I'm saying is there is a higher risk to retain and continue in the same path than there is for you to than there is to change and turn a new leaf. The league has shown us so much. We have so much empirical facts to show that it is more difficult for people to change than it is for them to remain the same. Shaq himself is coming out to say, "Oh, if I train half as much as Kobe wanted me to train, I would be more dominant than people even say I was." Shaq, same Shaq we are holding now as a high analyst. So you see how difficult it is to switch, to change, especially when the circle remains the same. So I'm a little bit more scared that once attention shifts away from Ja to Zion or to the postseason, Ja is going to show us another video, and this time around he will be suspended for the whole year.
Wale, do you think a franchise change could actually help Ja? Maybe if he moves out of Grizzly, of Memphis to somewhere else, where there'll be, I don't know, a more strict regime, someone to monitor him or whatnot.
The only strict regime is to go to the Spurs, and right now, Pop himself has shown that he's now a grandfather. He's no more a father. He's cuddling. Is shielding his players. Things a grandfather does for a 2-year-old baby is what we are seeing Pop do now. He's not even laying down the gauntlet. I don't see a franchise where a coach is probably the single most powerful personnel apart from the owner. I don't see that franchise right now in the NBA. It is more of a players' league than it is a coaches' league. And I don't even think a change in franchise will change anything. Where can he go to? Is he going to small market or Portland? Everybody was going to condone him. Is he going to Milwaukee? He's not going to be the 1A in Milwaukee. Is he going to New York? New York will even bring out the worst in you. New York accentuates what you already have inside of you. If you are not a good person and you go to New York, whether for the Knicks or for the Celtics or wherever it is you go to New York, you accentuate what you have inside of you. So I don't think a change in scenery will even change anything.
All right, Alale, your opinion. Alale.
Yeah, I think I can't disagree with Kaichi regarding what do you call it, Ja Morant issue. I think that statement from his father is probably irresponsible for him to have said is still moving with the same set of guys. It's like trying to, and I think the father is major problem here. Like Stephen A. Smith said it here in one of the show that you are not Jazz friend. Don't treat him like you guys are pal, like we try to call it in a party. Treat him like a father to son relationship. So the moment you are, and so I'm not, I don't know. I think I don't think the father as a person probably imagined himself having a player like this playing in the NBA, and I think that just got into his head. Like, you know what we call this is like the golden child of the family. It can't do anything. It can't do anything wrong. And that's where I'm saying it, because that statement from him is very dangerous. Even if that is the case, it is very irresponsible for you to have come to the press like just let all of us know that nothing has really changed about this guy.
It's going to be prepared.
Do you understand? So for me, that's why I'm still very skeptical about him. I just hope he doesn't put himself in a bigger trouble, because see, the league has so many potentials that if Ja will not be available again, nobody will miss him. It is what it is.
Absolutely.
Nobody
exactly. People will just say, "Oh, that boy was a
wonderful part of the history of what will have been." So for me, that's the main thing in the old Ja thing. But it's good to have him back and make such impact in his first game. And there's this what will I call it? There's this band going on the internet that Ja has won more game this season than
the oh my God.
The Pistons have only won 2 games. They are on a 26 game losing streak now.
Yeah, losing streak.
And since Ja came back, he has won 3 games with the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah. Which is really bad for the Pistons. So Kachi, I think he would be the one that will solve this situation between Olawale and I think our All-Star, NBA All-Star voting looks similar, but we have a difference of opinion about one particular position, and that goes between Anthony Edwards and Luka Doncic. Bolale, for him, Bolale has in the East, Bolale has Giannis, Joel Embiid, who is probably the best basketballer right now. Jason Tatum, Tyrese Maxey, and Damian Lillard. That's the same as I do. In the West, he has Nicola. Nicola definitely has to be there. Kevin Durant. Surprisingly, Olawale chose LeBron James because I know Olawale doesn't like LeBron James that much. And we have SGA as well, and of course Anthony Edwards. While on my part, we have the same thing in the East, as a matter of fact, and in the West, the difference for us is Luka. So who are you going to choose, Kachi? If you have to choose between Luka and Anthony Edwards,
based on performance,
he has a very good argument, as a matter of fact.
Based on performance this season, I saw it, even though I wasn't where I could easily digest it because I was mobile then. But I saw both of your lists, and to your shocker, I definitely agree with Olawale here. Based on performance, I think you, and it's also, although I have to say this, it sounds a little bit hypocritical. Both of you, especially for the West, have gone with historical sentiment for some of your selections.
Thank you, Kachi.
In KD and in LeBron. Exactly. Those are purely historical. Yes, they are doing well, but it is really because no one has come out in the West to take the bull by the horn. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
Now, based on that, Olawale corrected himself by making Anthony Edwards, who, based on performances this season, is clearly ahead of Luka Doncic.
No way.
As a matter of fact, you could even argue that you want to go fully big and exclude. It's just that it's so difficult to exclude Ant because Chet Holmgren is playing almost at the same click as SGA is playing now.
I agree with you.
Their records also says that. But trust me, if Anthony continues in this, he's going to be first team All NBA this season. At the pace he is going. At the pace he is going. So I totally agree. Luka has not elevated his game simply because he is now agreeing to share the ball with his teammates. And I think that has taken an edge away from his game this season. We'll see how
Debo, I want to share something about my list. I agree with Kachi with what he said about the selection of. Do you know that I was looking for an excuse to remove KD and what do you call it, and LeBron James on that list. But you know, because if I look at the reason why I didn't select.
Oh wow, we lost Olale again. Yeah, looks like we lost him, and he has so much to say about that. But Kachi, unfortunately, if you look at the statistics, Luka is doing better in terms of number posted than Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, how about shot efficiency? Who is shooting better? Who has a higher field goal percentage?
Defensively, Anthony Edwards is very good. Defensively, Anthony Edwards is more impactful than Luka Doncic.
Yeah, 100%.
What I want to do is I wanted to remove KD and I wanted to remove what you call it, LeBron.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at both of them that their team are not really performing very well, even though KD is averaging 31 points. But it's just that in their position, I've not really seen anybody among those top teams. It's not like those players are not playing well, but I've not really seen anybody that is playing up to what do you call it, a MVP level. If I would have seen somebody in the caliber of Anthony Edwards in any of those, either what do you call it, the Kings or Timberwolves or what do you call it, or Oklahoma City, I would have what do you call it, preferred them to KD.
So if KD and Bron, sorry Alani, if KD and Bron were in the East, you probably wouldn't have chosen them, right?
Exactly.
No.
With the current situation in the East, I will not select them.
Yeah, they would not have been selected. Yeah. What I think for LeBron is just the fact that it's such a beautiful story that someone in his 21st season is still averaging this, you know. But there's so many potentials.
Yeah, 40 points last night.
It's going to be my shout out if I'm still allowed to give a shout out. So we're working on sentiments here. LeBron is the best team in a team that he should not be. He's the best player in a team he should not be the best player in right now at this age. Yeah. KD is just a crazy shooter. It's just what his nature is, not necessarily because his game is elevating the Suns. His game is not elevating the Suns. His game is his game. KD is the assassin. He's the sniper for a reason. You can't guard KD. You know, his biggest opponent is his health, not necessarily. But take KD and put in what's the worst team now in Detroit Pistons. The Pistons will still have this 26-game losing streak, but KD will post. He will post his regular his career average.
I think both of you are just party poopers by trying to take out Luka. Luka has been better individually, but you're looking at the team performance collectively and the star of the team, which undeniably is Anthony Edwards. That's why you're choosing him, which is usually a fair point. And I like Oladi's points, which is another fair point. The fact that take out the offensive ability of these two guys. Look at what they do defensively, right? Which is a fair point as well. But that doesn't mean I agree with Oladi. But since Kachi, I know Kachi was not going to be myself. I'm not so. I didn't even know why I called Kachi to be judged. Kachi, before we go, any shout out before we go?
Oh yes, big shout out to LeBron James, who at the age of 38 posted his 40 points, I believe 5 assists, 5 blocks or 5 steals or thereabout, or 9 rebounds, becoming just the oldest guy to post that. He continues to defy Father Time, and I think we should give credit to whom credit is due, because at age 38, the person we hold him to was out of the league. Another shout out to the Los Angeles Lakers team for taking the right choice not to hang a purple and gold in-season championship banner. Instead, they use the black and gold banner, which tells us it's just an accoladed flag. Big credit for them for using their wisdom there.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, guys, for saying to the show. Till we see you again next week. My name is Ilani Yadebo, and it's News to Start Us Sport. Have a wonderful sporting week.